is not God and God is not Buddha. Since the dawn of civilization, questions about a higher power have always been at the heart of humanity's search for meaning. Who created this vast universe? Who governs life? And who determines our destiny? Every religion offers its own answers, and Buddhism provides a unique and profound perspective, one rooted not in dogma, but in the direct experience of life itself. In Buddhist teachings, the idea of God isn't presented as an all-powerful personal creator of everything. In fact, the Buddha neither confirmed nor denied the existence of a God in those specific terms. Why? Because he guided our attention to something he saw as far more urgent, the reality of suffering and the path to end it. When Siddhartha Gautama achieved enlightenment and became the Buddha, he didn't come back with metaphysical theories about the world's origin. Instead, he taught the Dhamma, the truth of how life actually works. In the Buddhist view, the universe operates according to universal natural laws. These laws weren't created by any being, and they don't depend on a divine will. They just are. They function naturally, consistently, and can be understood through wisdom. One of the most fundamental of these laws is called Paṭicca Samuppāda, or dependent origination. This principle states that all things arise because of specific causes and conditions, and they cease to exist when those causes and conditions are no longer present. Nothing exists on its own. There's no single creator standing outside of this intricate system. Everything is part of an interconnected web of cause and effect, constantly in flux. This is how human life is understood as well. Our happiness and suffering are not determined by the will of a God, but by our own karma. Karma isn't a system of cosmic punishment or reward. It's simply the natural consequence of our actions, our thoughts, our words, and our deeds. A mind filled with greed, hatred, and delusion will naturally lead to suffering. On the other hand, a mind grounded in virtue, wisdom, and loving kindness will naturally lead to peace and well-being. Through this understanding, we are not seen as passive recipients of a divine plan. We are the active architects of our own lives. What you're experiencing right now is the result of past causes, and what you will experience in the future is being shaped by the choices you are making in this very moment. Now, Buddhism does acknowledge the existence of higher beings, like devas and brahmās, who reside in heavenly realms. However, these beings are not creator gods. They, too, are subject to the laws of karma and impermanence. They might enjoy incredibly long lifespans and blissful states of existence, but they are still within the cycle of birth and death. So, in Buddhism, no being is absolute, eternal, or all-powerful. All beings, without exception, are governed by natural law. The primary goal of the Buddhist teaching wasn't to define God, but to understand dukkha, the reality of suffering in life. This isn't just about pain. It includes the stress of birth, aging, sickness, and death. It's the sadness of being separated from what we love and the frustration of being with what we dislike. It's also that subtle, persistent feeling of dissatisfaction that often hums in the background of our lives. But the Buddha's message is one of incredible hope. He taught that this suffering can be brought to a complete end. This cessation of suffering is called Nibbāna. Nibbāna is not a heaven created by a god. It is a state of mind, attainable right here and now, that is completely free from greed, hatred, and delusion. To realize this ultimate freedom, the Buddha laid out a clear, practical guide, the Noble Eightfold Path. This path consists of right view. Right view is sometimes called right understanding. It means to see things as they really are, which means seeing them objectively, and completely and understanding them fully. This requires accurate observation followed by study. In other words, we must think about what we have observed. Only then can we have right understanding, right intention. Right intention is sometimes called right thought. It means that we must not see things through the lens of negative emotions. We must free ourselves of desire, greed, hatred, anger, and other negative emotions that can cloud our judgment. Only then can we have right thought, right speech. This means that we must have respect for the truth. We must not lie. We must not slander. We must not gossip. We must not speak ill of other people. We must avoid harsh or cruel words which will lead to hurt feelings or quarrels. In essence, it means to treat others with respect when we speak and to consider the consequences of our words. Right action. Right action is to refrain from killing, to refrain from taking what is not given, to refrain from wrong conduct and sensual pleasures. Right livelihood. Right livelihood is abandoning wrong ways of living, seeking and maintaining a livelihood by right means. Wrong livelihood itself is living by cunning, seduction, giving hidden signal signs, manipulation, deception, and pursuing gain for the sake of gain. Right effort. Right effort is generating desire, making an effort, arousing energy, enthusiasm, directing the mind, and making an effort to A. Not give rise to unarisen unwholesome states. B. Abandoning unarisen unwholesome states. C. Giving rise to unarisen wholesome states. D. Maintaining non-decline, increase, expansion, fulfillment, and development of arisen wholesome states. Right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is clearly understanding, remaining, abiding, mindful of the body. Pali, Kao Napapasan. Skate, Kano Pazian. Feelings. Pali, Vedan Nupasanan. Skate, Vedan Nunapariyanan. Mind, Pali, Sitanupasaning. Skate, Sitanupajianing. Mental formations. Pali, Dhammanupasanan. Skate, Dharmanupajian. These four forms of mindfulness can be called profound, clear insight. Pali, Vipassan. Sanskrit, Vipasyan. Right meditation. Practicing meditation produces an inner tranquility and sharpens awareness at the same time. It is hard to do right, and it requires faithful practice. It requires emptying the mind to achieve a total stillness of mind and body. The prohibition of poisons and intoxicants I will adapt to mean that we must not be involved in the production of products that are harmful to human life and health, or engage in practices that are harmful to the health of our planet. Further, we must not support people or companies that violate these precepts. Violations of this principle are so widespread, I fear that it is almost impossible to be 100% moral in this area. Perhaps the best we can do is to be aware of these violations, to help make others aware of them, and be careful not to vote for people who support immoral practices and businesses. Buddhism is a non-theistic religion based upon the teachings of Buddha, a sage who lived in India sometime between the 4th and 6th century BCE. The Eightfold Path is the fourth of the Four Noble Truths. No matter what your religion, or even if you do not follow any religion, you will find the teachings of Buddha relevant to your life today. What are the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path? Buddha's teachings are based upon the teachings of others who preceded him. He aimed to teach his disciples how to live an enlightened life and minimize human suffering. The Four Noble Truths: the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. The Eightfold Path is part of the Fourth Noble Truth, which is the path that leads to the end of suffering. Buddha taught that the way to achieve enlightenment and minimize human suffering was to live an ethical life. Buddha placed all human behavior into one of 8 categories or paths. Each path is designated by the term right, meaning ethical or moral. He then described the types of behavior that were right for each of these categories. The Eightfold Path has 3 main groups: 2 paths of wisdom, how we understand; 3 paths of conduct, how we act; and 3 paths of concentration, how we think. What are the 2 paths of wisdom in Buddhism? The 2 paths of wisdom are right view and right intention. Right view is sometimes called right understanding. It means to see things as they really are, which means seeing them objectively and completely, and understanding them fully. This requires accurate observation, followed by study. In other words, we must think about what we have observed. Only then can we have right understanding. Right intention is sometimes called right thought. It means that we must not see things through the lens of negative emotions. We must free ourselves of desire, greed, hatred, anger, and other negative emotions that can cloud our judgment. Only then can we have right thought. What are the three paths of conduct in Buddhism? Right speech. This means that we must have respect for the truth. We must not lie. We must not slander. We must not gossip. We must not speak ill of other people. We must avoid harsh or cruel words, which will lead to hurt feelings or quarrels. In essence, it means to treat others with respect when we speak and to consider the consequences of our words. Right action. This means being respectful of all life and maintaining good relationships with others. We should not intentionally kill any living thing, not even a mosquito. We should not steal. Stealing means we should not take anything that is not freely given. It includes not defrauding or tricking someone. We should not use other people for our own benefit. We should not engage in sexual misconduct or adultery. Right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. It's a comprehensive training for the mind that requires ethical discipline, mental cultivation, and the development of wisdom. This isn't achieved through prayers or asking a divine being for help. It's achieved through your own mindful practice and a deep personal understanding of yourself. So, while Buddhism doesn't center around the concept of a creator God, it is far from a negative or nihilistic philosophy. On the contrary, Buddhist teachings place a strong emphasis on moral and spiritual values. Practitioners are encouraged to actively cultivate metta, which is boundless loving kindness for all beings. They cultivate karunyu, deep compassion for the suffering of others. They develop mudita, which is joyful appreciation for the happiness of others, and upekkha, a balanced and unshakable equanimity. These four qualities are the foundation of a harmonious life and a peaceful society. Buddhism teaches that peace in the world truly begins with peace within each one of us. When our minds are free from the poisons of hatred and greed, our actions naturally become a source of benefit and well-being for everyone around us. So, the question of God in Buddhism isn't answered with a theological debate. It's answered in a practical, existential way. The Buddha didn't ask people to simply believe in his words. He invited them to come and see for themselves, to investigate, to practice, and to directly experience the truth. The Buddhist path teaches that liberation doesn't come from an external force. It grows from within, through your own awareness and your own wisdom. Every single person has the potential to awaken, to understand the Dhamma, and to attain true, lasting inner freedom. This is the Buddhist perspective on life. It's not about dependence on an external power. It is about having confidence in our own human capacity to realize the truth, to live in harmony with the natural laws of the universe, and to walk the path toward a genuine and unshakable peace. Thank you for watching. If this perspective resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more explorations into the nature of the mind and reality.